Now the third method, my favorite, is what I call the reverse Netflix method. When most people tell you to learn a language by watching Netflix, they tell you to watch a show in your target language. For example, if you're learning Spanish, they tell you to watch Narcos or Money Heist. But what I do instead is the opposite. Alright people, I'm ungatekeeping all the secret methods I personally use to learn languages. And no, this video is not sponsored by anybody, and I got nothing to sell you. For now. So I'm just going to be dropping some free game in this video, and if you like it, use it. At least subscribe and leave a like. I'm sharing 4 methods and the third one is my favorite. Alright people, поехали. The first method is what I call just look at it, and this is what you do if you're still a beginner. Maybe you know the alphabet, you know a few things, but you want to become conversational. So in your target language, you're going to grab a list of the building blocks of language. It could be WH questions, that's what, who, where, or indefinite pronouns. Someone, somewhere, sometime, anything, all those little common words that we use every time we speak. The purpose is to help you get your point across with as little words as possible and as fast as possible. And lastly, you're going to add 20 of the most common verbs. For example, think, talk, walk, drink, and you're going to include present, future, and past conjugations. Just keep it simple. But anyway, you're going to make these lists and you're going to print them or write them by hand if you're unemployed, but it's very important to have a physical copy. Once you have those physical copies, guess what? You're not going to memorize them. You're just going to look at them. What you're going to do is every time you wake up in the morning while sipping coffee or tea, you're just going to pull out those papers and just look at them. Read a few words here and there. Just read the conjugations of the most common verbs and only focus on the first and second pronoun. I and you, because that's all you really need to start having a conversation with somebody. You're only going to talk about yourself and about them. It's really rare that you're going to mention someone else. Be like, he did this, she did that, they. So at least for now, just focus on I and you. Here's why this method works so well. At least for me, when you've just gotten out of bed, your mind is usually so clear and just absorbs everything like a sponge. Energy levels are about to spike and you're generally in a good mood, which makes it easier to remember things just by reading. Plus, in my opinion, this is a much better activity than just doom scrolling all morning. And just think about it, if you just read these things every single morning for like a month, you're gonna naturally remember them without memorizing, without making an effort. And if you want to take this a step further, you can do the same before bed. Again, better than doom scrolling. You're gonna fall asleep easier. I love how this was about languages, but now I'm just giving you life advice. Alright, the second method is what I call infiltrating the meme world. It's exactly what it sounds like. You're just gonna follow Instagram meme pages, subreddits, YouTube comedy channels, Facebook if you still use it, all in your target language of course. You're just gonna look at the memes, try to understand them. It's okay if you don't. You're gonna learn so much about the culture and understand those people. What makes them laugh, what makes them angry, how do they react to things, their trends, their slang, how they text. You can learn all of that from memes. You're not gonna find that anywhere else. And this can also help you make a few friends. If you start liking people's comments, somebody might follow you. Now the third method, my favorite, is what I call the reverse Netflix method. When most people tell you to learn a language by watching Netflix, they tell you to watch a show in your target language. For example, if you're learning Spanish, they tell you to watch Narcos or Money Heist. But what I do instead is the opposite. I watch a show in English, preferably something I already watched, like Dexter, Breaking Bad, Lucifer, and then, and this is the secret, I put the subtitles in my target language. For example, I watched Breaking Bad, American show, in English, and then I put Russian subtitles. What this does is it immediately translates native casual expressions that you already know and recognize and use to your target language. Let me just show you how so you can see how it works in action. Here I have Breaking Bad on Netflix in English, of course.
Just remember who you're working for.
So for example, he said, just remember who you're working for. And I immediately got the Russian translation. And I can just write it down or I can screenshot it. For example, like this. Then go to ChatGPT. ChatGPT extracts it and you can just keep going. I don't understand. Are you saying you have access to immediate translation of frequently used expressions? So for me personally, this method is much better than just watching a show in your target language. Because A, you usually randomly pick a show you don't particularly like the style. It could be so boring that you just can't watch it. Unlike something that you're already familiar with, something that you already love. B is another problem. You might actually like it it and just start watching for the plot instead of watching to learn. Unlike my reverse Netflix method where you use something that you've already seen. In this case, you don't really watch for the plot because you already know what happened. So your brain is forced to actually learn. So you let me know what you think. If you like it, leave a comment. Alright, the fourth method is speak as much as you can and as early as you can. Every day, try to record yourself speaking for at least 1 minute and use all the expressions that you've learned that day. Just try to string some sentences together. No matter how bad you think you sound, just do it. That's what I do in my videos. I'm currently learning Russian, as most of you know, and I take every opportunity to just speak. In every one of my videos, I just sneak something in Russian. Давайте посмотрим. Так вот, я обычно использую «я». Например, но поехали. Если вы говорите по-русски, скажите, как обычно, будет очень-очень плохо. My Russian is not even that good actually, it's horrible. I have a strong accent, I say the wrong things a lot of times, I mispronounce things, but I still speak as much as I can, it doesn't matter to me. And I get a lot of comments saying like, oh, your Russian is bad. Or like, this video is about Somalia, why are you speaking Russian? A, I get to practice, B, I get to track my progress, and C, a lot of you kind people actually correct my mistakes, which helps me learn more. So, alright, I got a bonus method for you just because you're cool. The fifth method is using children's songs. Sounds goofy, sounds silly, but trust me, it works. I was struggling to learn the days of the week in Russian until I found this song. Понедельник, вторник, среда, четверг, пятница, суббота, воскресенье. Now I know because of this song. So if you're struggling to remember something in particular in some language, use a goofy children's song. Alright, now I'm just gonna give you some general tips. Number 1, at some point, learning by yourself is not gonna be enough. You're gonna wanna work with a teacher one-on-one. Use any of the famous platforms. I don't wanna mention any names because this video is not sponsored. But yes, working with a teacher one-on-one is really good because they can correct you in real time. And it's gonna help a lot. Number 2, have fun. Relax. Language learning is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be linked to your image of yourself, your ego, and oh, I shouldn't make a mistake, ever. I should have a perfect accent, native level. Says who? It doesn't have to be that way. It should be fun. Ignore the haters. Somebody's always gonna have something to say. And guess what? That person probably speaks one language only. The fact that they make fun of you is on them, not on you. It's their problem. The goal is communication. That's the purpose of language. If I travel somewhere in Central Asia, Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan, and I use Russian to communicate with the locals, maybe with a taxi driver, an older woman selling something, then that's all that matters to me. I also speak a bit of French, but my accent is obviously not native. And it doesn't matter. If I travel to West Africa and I communicate with the locals there, then that's all that matters to me. Anyway, if you found this slightly interesting, subscribe.